Hallo. Onze volgende spreker is Dinah Bons. Give it up voor Dinah! Dinah is de coördinator vanuit de gemeenschap gestuurde United Clinic. En activist voor trans- en sekswerkerrechten en kandidaat voor de Amsterdamse gemeenteraadsverkiezingen voor bijeen. We could not be more excited for our next speaker. She is the director of the community-led United Clinic, a trans right and sex worker activist, and also a candidate for the Amsterdam gemeenteraadsverkiezingen voor bijeen. Welkom Dinah!
Thank you. I will do my speech in English. And this symbol, it's not only just a red umbrella, it's the sign for the international sex worker community. And why is this important? I think trans people who do sex work, and that has been for centuries, have been always the one who first felt marginalization, discrimination, and all these things coming up to us. It also made us strong, because what we do, we organize worldwide from San Francisco, New York, London, Paris, Amsterdam, to make just systems for trans people. Trans people, healthcare, for example, we have a clinic. We're not at the view at the moment, but we're close to the United Clinic, which is just behind this castle building, a very colonial building. Okay, but that's something. What I wanted to say is that our struggle is broad and wide enough to take up lots of people, and we did that. Unfortunately, now the clinic cannot run that inclusive because we just have restrictions as well. Now the waiting list is 6 months. But we really focus at the moment on all those people who are in those margins with an example of how trans care can be. It means that we have followed ICD-11, which is the International Code of Diseases, which is really official by the World Health Organization. And hell, everybody listens to World Health Organization, for example, in the COVID pandemic, but we don't listen to them when they talk about trans. And that is fucked up. Okay. My speech is from my community perspective, because I think we have lots of important things we can bring to the table when it comes to gender. Myself, I am coming from, my parents and grandparents are coming from the Moluccas, which is a former colony, a slave island as well. And we have very good perspectives on pre-colonial gender. And I myself, I can see in my community that has been robbed away by colonialism. And we want to give all those tools and all that knowledge back to our community. So for us as people of color, BIPOC, sex workers, community, it's vital important to be here for us all. Because things are hidden. Like for example, if you really look in the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, there are perspectives of different gender diversity and sexual orientation. And we have been washed out by our colonizers who made boxes and the binary system. It's their invention. So that's why we give medical support from a non-Western colonial perspective. And we think that is a future for all of us, because now we have to wait on people who are doing first long talks before you can be there. You will be scrutinized, looked at from the heteronormative perspective, and then when you glance and you do a sort of a final exam, you're the trans, and you can become and get hormones and their help. Well, the hospitals are really instructed to give care to transgender people, and not the way we do it. So the care they give is really from their perspective, from heteronormative perspective, from seeing us as individuals who are sick, and we have been made sick by the system. Psychiatric diagnosed for years and years and years, and that makes us vulnerable. It's not us, because we trans people are fierce. We have been the healers, we have been the shamans, people who give wisdom, but we have been made ridiculous. And how easy and fast can it go that you as a trans person are erased because of heteronormative perspectives and do not give you the chance to really show your beauty and your strength. So this binary structure, it belittles us, makes us the others, and the VU is the foundation of this injustice. It's the foundation of pathological thinking about us. It's creating lookalikes. Look at me. I mean, I'm not against the way I look at the moment, but I've been made, forced, sterilized, because of that gender perspective that they think is good for us. We don't take that anymore, and we don't need to take that anymore. Because forced sterilization is dehumanizing. It takes the right for us on our bodily autonomy, and that's a real horrible thing when you look at human rights. What do we bring? What can we change? We can change those institutions when they take us at the table. And I really look at, for example, how HIV activism did it to get that seat at the table, to have JIPA principles, which means greater involvement of people who are living that life, okay? We have nurses, we have doctors, we have social workers, we have caretakers, we have people with good experience. We need to put these people at the table to shape that new view or whatever institution there is to come to give us the healthcare that we need. This is social injustice and it's structural. What does this WHO, World Health Organization, ICD-11, International Code of Diseases brings us? It brings us informed consent. It makes us people who can talk to the doctor and say, this is my life, this is my sexuality, something that we actually never discuss at the VU. But for trans people, we also have a sex life, and there are dangers in having sex as a trans person. We need to have incorporated care. Not only the hormones, but we also need to look at our social perspectives. Do we have housing? Do we live under the poverty line? These are very important things we need to take up to those institutions to change them inside, because they are rooted in a really colonial, heteronormative thing. Does it exist? Yes, it exists. So if you give that, if you check it, for example, in the UK we have Cheryl Ross Turner, who does the Clinic U. We have in San Francisco the St. James Infirmary, where we are looking up to. Those are the sex workers that really bring that to everyone. In the US we have this Callum Lord protocols, and we also have here the Trans Clinic, who now serves the most vulnerable in our community. But my heart breaks to see you all here, because we've also had you in the clinic. And then we had possibilities to give care and hormones. So we need to change that. We need to show them that we are not an enemy and that we're not against everything, but we need to have access to everything, and we need to be at that table when policies are made. So I'm also angry. And why am I angry? I have been speaking in Rome in 2018, I think. It was for all the doctors who do gender care in Europe, the EPATH, and I had held a speech. You can all find it back on EPATH, a Dinah Bons speech, and you will find the words exactly what I gave to them in their academic fuck language. They didn't listen. After that meeting, I've been silenced for, I think, 4 days in Rome. Nobody spoke to me. The whole VU team was there. Even the people who have helped me as their psychologists and doctors, they didn't dare to speak. Because what I said was this truth. And we need, as trans people, trans activists, politicians, implement this ICD-11 by the World Health Organization because it gives us a perspective without psychological gatekeepers, without the notion of us being mentally distorted and being just a person who can be able to look and to wish for their own health and which way it should go. That is JIPA principles. So we need to reform those gender clinics and fast with the guidelines by the WHO because we know best. We need to take off our shackles. We need to take off our chains. We need to let us become again the healers, those people with wisdom, because we have more spirits as one. And as an indigenous person, I can tell you, it's needed. Your energy is needed. But be also aware, there are care cowboys running in projects that we think they are good for our community, but they're actually there to make money over our backs. So, it needs no GGZ, no psychological screening first. And that should be your, let's say, your compass on what kind of help you could choose, okay?
Absolutely, yes. Don't do that.
There is poverty, and there is there is a real social problem with trans people because we are deprived from rights, we are not seen as normal, we cannot thrive at our jobs, we will be pushed away from schools, set out of our houses with our parents, especially in the BIPOC community. I think it's vital and needed to be together sometimes and to feel the energy of trans people together because we change. Our lives are political every minute of the day. Don't forget that. And then a last thing, there is a gender backlash and we need to be aware of it. Where does it come from? It comes from religious angles, it comes from conservative angles, and it is there to again take away our normality, the way we speak, and we have been fighting for our rights within the European Union, but also in the UN. It made it possible to have a voice, at least have a voice. But now you see that we are ridiculous again. We cannot go to sports. We cannot be, well, we don't have to talk about all this traumatic shit, but it is there. And those people are not after us. They're after everything that is different and is tackling patriarchy. And that's what we do. And we need to keep doing that intersectionally with all those different people who feel the same pressure. And we are strong. Look at us here, fucking strong. So take back, fight back. And those power mechanisms that don't allow us to exist are there to be dismantled. So fight back. Thank you. Great. I also want to, at the end, take notion of some of things that are really hurting us and that we all feel. Those people who leave us because they cannot live longer with the pain and with the day-by-day bullying and all these terrible things coming and throwing at us. So I want to take a moment to remember all those people who we've lost during this struggle, and that we center them in their hearts and that we stand on their shoulders. Let us take a moment. Thank you.